Disclaimer: this guide is not fully for kids. It's got swear words and crude humor in it, also fast editing. But if you were letting your kids play a spooky Sonic bloody murder creepypasta game on the internet and this video offends you, you fucked up somewhere. Not my fault. All credits to the images and sound bites I use that I am aware of will be put in the description of this video. There are very few things in here I claim to own outside of the intro music and the gameplay. If there are any issues, please message me or let me know and I will change how they are used. Thank you. So the new update came out for Sonic.EXE, the disaster. And all your old guides are kinda crumpled, rusty, and flat out wrong. Or, you just got into the game, are getting bodied, and the old guides are still too old to help you. Fret not. This is gonna be a pretty simple hybrid guide to teach you everything you need to know in one short and sweet punch. Hopefully not through your gut. Maybe through theirs if the network is on your side. That said, for all of you who played Dead by Daylight, this game is very simple, but Overwatch. Instead of having to manually do 50,000 hours of holding a button and listening to a heart thump, you now have cool flashy Overwatch-like character abilities, and all you have to do is survive around 5 minutes and hop in a giant gold ring. Would be simple if you weren't pretty much up against the original corrupted creepypasta god. I'm gonna split this guide into 3 easily digestible parts: General Survivor Guide, General Sonic.3 Sexy Guide, and my general character tier list opinions on why some things need to be buffed, and others need completely redesigned from the ground up. What the fuck is that hitbox? General Survivor Guide. I've already said what the hell you're trying to do. Survive 5 minutes and hop into the gold ring. I will point out that, in order to do so, you will need to keep your team alive for as long as possible. If they die, they're gonna join Sunky.MPEG over there and start tearing you to shreds too. Unlike Dead by Daylight, there is no hatch to save you if you recklessly leave your team for dead. So in all honesty, your goal is less to survive until the gold ring, more to keep your team alive for every second possible. In order to do that, you have to pick a character, which isn't my job. I'll be covering what characters are good or bad later. Right now, I'm gonna describe the structure of what the hell you're doing to live no matter who you play. Sticking with your team and playing proper chases. Sticking with your team is obvious on the surface, but if your team is all grouped together, you may or may not be walking head first into a clean wipe. In general, the best place for you to be is with 1 or 2 key people at a time, and maybe on occasion wander to help others in danger when you see them. Staying on your own is inviting Sonic.too fast to speed boost you into spikes, and staying all together invites immediate death if things go slightly awry, cause there's nobody left to help all of you at once. If your character has a punchy close range ability, you should be closer to the action and Sonic drive-through when you can afford to be. Otherwise, if Sonic isn't staring directly at you, you should be close to the action but doing your best impression of a bush. What makes the difference between an AFK dumbass and a genuinely good teammate is how close they are to the action and their cooldowns. If they're close to the action and their cooldowns are all on, you know they're just waiting to jump in and save someone. If they're halfway across the map standing still a shadow while Cream is getting mauled by half the map, they're stupid. If you lose your team, you don't have to care, as springs and footsteps are so loud that just following the noise usually leads you to a teammate or to the blue boogeyman. Both of the above are acceptable, as usually the blue boogeyman isn't too far from your team. Granted, with the latter you have to be a lot more careful to avoid getting backhanded. Speaking of which, it's time to describe the ideas present in a good chase. The goal of a chase is to run back to a teammate or small cluster of teammates that can protect you, as every other situation means you'll eventually get hit. The chase can be written as a tiny little graph: lose, juke, a third little layer of position, ability, and loop, and win. I'll explain these from the ground up. Save lose because lose is obvious. Usually, if you get hit, it happened as a result of a lost juking battle, where Sonic is right on your tail and you're desperately pressing WASD spacebar to break his angles. Many players see jukes as an escape, No! Every second you spend juking is a second you won't be able to leave. Just like in Dead by Daylight, juke with a plan. Every move you make that isn't snapping ankles should be a move made to get closer to your team, or wherever the spring sounds are coming from. That's not you or Sonic.EXE. That said, the most effective jukes are the ones you haven't done yet. Many players spam jump the second they get the chance and just run in circles, leading to them being a lot easier to hit than they should be. When you hear Sonic miss an attack, you start running in the direction you want to go. After about half a second, you should be looking and seeing what you think Sonic wants to do, and go anywhere but, even if it means double-crossing your movement or standing still. There's no one god juking tactic that wins every situation, but the more things you can think of you haven't done against Sonic, the more jukes you'll have in your arsenal for when you get here. You want to avoid getting here at all costs if you can, and the ways you can do that are position, abilities, and loops. Position is very simple. If you are somewhere far ahead of Sonic, or forces him to specifically route to you, you'll waste a lot of time and give yourself a chance to escape the chase. Abilities also help with this, dependent upon your position. While Sally's shield can act as an emergency juke escape, that and other abilities will grant you a better position with the speed boost afterwards. If you can spend an ability over getting hit, unless you're a support with a job to do, you do it no questions asked. Loops are similar to jukes, but if you can force a Sonic to fall off of a high platform or loop back around a structure, you buy yourself a ton of position you can use to get this blue the F off of you. All of the above only bide you time, and knowing how to find your team, i.e. listening to the loud-ass spring sounds, are what get you closer to winning. If you're watching this as a beginner's guide to not suck, odds are this is why you were dying so fast. Even if you juked him to hell and back, you still likely felt you got targeted out of the match. Of course you did. You were on the verge of losing chase and never did anything to win it. That's something called a free hit if the Sonic doesn't suck. I should have mentioned red rings and specific map gimmicks, but I didn't quite bring them up in my original script and my hands are tired from editing. Plus, I ran out of TTS letters per week. Pain. I'll mention them in a separate section, as I'm splitting this guide into 3 parts. Hope you enjoyed the Survivor section of this guide, and I'll see y'all next time. Put any particular questions or shiznits in the comments and I'll see what I get to.